You're not ignored because people don't see you. You're ignored because people see you clearly. They see your hesitation. They smell your weakness. They calculate your insignificance in real time. Power is not a rumor. Power is not a theory. Power is not a theory. Power is not something you claim. Power is something the world reacts to without permission. When you walk into a room, there is a silent vote. No words, no speeches, no democracy, just instinct. Primitive, brutal, accurate. Every eye measures you. Every brain asks one question. Does this man bend reality, or does reality bend him? And the answer decides everything. You think respect comes from kindness. It doesn't. Kindness without power is submission wearing makeup. Kindness without power is prey pretending to be equal to predators. The world does not respect your intentions. The world respects your capability. Capability to win. Capability to endure. Capability to dominate your own mind when everything inside you begs for surrender. Because power is not loud. Power is absolute. Look at nature. The lion doesn't explain itself. The storm doesn't apologize. The ocean doesn't negotiate. They exist in their full authority, and everything else adjusts. You, on the other hand, have been trained to shrink. From childhood, they taught you to obey before they taught you to think. They rewarded compliance. They punished aggression. They conditioned you to seek approval instead of conquest. Why? Because a powerful man is uncontrollable, and an uncontrollable man cannot be used. Understand this clearly. Weak men are tools. Powerful men are forces. A tool waits to be picked up. A force changes the landscape. And right now, most of you live like tools. You wait for motivation. You wait for permission. You wait for the perfect time. But power does not wait. Power is taken. Power is taken. Power is built in silence, in isolation, in moments where nobody is watching and nobody is clapping. When your alarm rings and your body screams no, that is where power is decided. When your mind begs for comfort and you choose pain instead, that is where power is forged. Because power is not given to the comfortable. Power is reserved for the relentless. Your brain is a battlefield. Every day, two versions of you are fighting. The weak version wants safety. The powerful version wants conquest. The weak version says rest, delay, escape. The powerful version says advance, endure, adapt. And whichever version says advance, endure, adapt. And whichever version wins repeatedly becomes your identity. Identity is not what you say. Identity is what you repeat. If you repeat weakness, you become fragile. If you repeat discipline, you become unbreakable. This is biological. This is neurological. Your nervous system rewires itself based on your standards. Every time you tolerate your own excuses, you lower your internal authority. You teach yourself that your words mean nothing. And if your words mean nothing to you, they mean nothing to the world. Power begins with self-trust. Self-trust is built when you give yourself a command and execute it without negotiation. No delay, no emotional debate, no internal democracy. Because democracy inside your mind creates chaos, and chaos destroys power. You must become a dictatorship. One leader, one direction, no rebellion tolerated. Your emotions are not your leaders. Your emotions are your soldiers. They obey, they do not decide. Weak men reverse this. They let emotions lead and logic follow. They become slaves to temporary feelings. Powerful men do the opposite. They let logic lead and emotions follow. This is why powerful men appear calm in chaos, because they are not reacting. They are deciding. Decision is power. Indecision is decay. Every second you hesitate, you leak authority. Every moment you doubt yourself, the world senses it. And the world punishes hesitation without mercy, because hesitation signals vulnerability, and vulnerability invites domination. This is evolutionary law. For 300,000 years, your ancestors survived not because they were nice, but because they were decisive. The man who hesitated died. The man who acted lived. And that code still exists inside you, buried, waiting. But modern life has anesthetized you, comfort and sedated your instincts. Endless entertainment has weakened your aggression. You scroll, you consume, you distract yourself. You are not resting, you are dissolving. Every hour spent in passive consumption is a vote against your own power, because power requires tension. A muscle grows under resistance. A mind grows under pressure. A man grows under responsibility. Remove resistance and growth stops. Remove pressure and power disappears. This is why easy lives produce fragile men. Fragile men cannot command respect. Fragile men cannot command themselves. And if you cannot command yourself, you will always be commanded by others. Your boss, the circumstances, your fears, your limitations. You become a puppet, and the strings are invisible. Power cuts those strings. Power gives you the ability to say no without fear. Power gives you the ability to walk away without hesitation. Power gives you the ability to exist without needing validation. Because validation is currency for the weak, power is currency for the elite. The elite do not ask to be respected. They become impossible to ignore. Not through words, through presence. Presence is earned through suffering. Every time you endure what others avoid, you separate yourself from the masses. Because the masses choose comfort. The elite choose growth. Comfort is a drug. Growth is war. And war creates warriors. Right now, you are either in training or in decline. There is no neutral. Every day, you are either building power or losing it. Every thought you tolerate is either strengthening you or weakening you. Every habit you repeat is either sharpening your blade or dulling it. You cannot escape this. You cannot pause this. Time is not neutral. Time is aggressive. It is either compounding your discipline or compounding your weakness. This is why urgency is not optional. Urgency is survival. The world belongs to those who move before they feel ready, because readiness is an illusion. Power is built in motion. Clarity comes from action. Confidence comes from execution. Authority comes from repetition. You do not think your way into power. You act your way into power. You act your way into power. Action rewires your identity. Every time you do something difficult, your brain updates its model of you. It says, this man executes. And once your brain believes that, hesitation disappears. Because hesitation exists only in men who doubt their own capability. Powerful men do not eliminate fear. They override it. They feel the resistance. They feel the discomfort. And they move anyway, because they understand something most people never realize. Fear is not a signal to stop. Fear is a signal that you are approaching expansion. Your comfort zone is a prison, and fear is the guard at the door. Most people see the guard and turn back. Powerful men break through, and every time you break through, your reality expands. Your standards rise. Your tolerance for weakness decreases. You become less emotional, less reactive, less dependent, more focused, more dangerous, more free. Freedom is not given. Freedom is built through power. Financial power, mental power, physical power, emotional power. Each one reinforces the other. A weak body weakens the mind. A weak mind weakens decisions. Weak decisions destroy lives. Strength is not optional. Strength is foundational. Because the world does not slow down for weak men. The world accelerates past them and leaves them behind. And when the world leads you behind, it does not announce it. There's no warning siren. No dramatic speech, no moment where someone taps your shoulder and says, this is where you became irrelevant. It happens quietly, in the opportunities you never see, in the rooms you're never invited into, in the conversations that stop when you approach. You think you're still in the game, but you've already been removed from the board. Because power is not just about force. Power is about positioning. A weak man reacts to reality. A powerful man shapes reality. Before others even understand what's happening. He sees patterns before they form. He moves before others decide. He acts while others hesitate. This is not luck. This is awareness sharpened by discipline. Your mind, when trained correctly, becomes a weapon of prediction. You stop living moment to moment. You start living strategically. Every action becomes intentional. Every movement becomes calculated. Every sacrifice becomes an investment. Because power is not emotional. Power is mathematical. Every disciplined action compounds. Every avoided weakness multiplies your authority. Most people sabotage themselves because they chase comfort in moments that demand aggression. They negotiate with their lower self. They say, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow is the favorite lie of insignificant men. Tomorrow is where dreams go to die. Tomorrow is where ambition dissolves into regret. Powerful men operate on now. Now is the only moment where power can be seized. Not later, not eventually, not when conditions are perfect. Conditions are never perfect. The storm never asks if you're ready. The war never waits for your confidence. You must become the type of man who acts regardless of internal weather. Because your feelings are temporary, but your actions echo permanently. Every time you override your weakness, you send a signal to your nervous system. I am in control. And control is the foundation of power. A man who cannot control his impulses cannot control his future. Impulse is the language of weakness. Discipline is the language of power. When you control your impulses, you stop being predictable. And unpredictability creates authority. Because the world cannot manipulate a man it cannot predict. Weak men are predictable. They chase pleasure. They avoid pain. They seek approval. They fear rejection. Their behavior is transparent, and transparency invites control. Powerful men are different. They do not chase pleasure. They chase growth. They do not avoid pain. They weaponize pain. They do not seek approval. They define their own standards. They do not fear rejection. They expect resistance, because resistance is confirmation that you are moving in the right direction. Nothing valuable exists without resistance. Every empire was built through resistance. Every powerful mind was forged through resistance. Every powerful mind was forged through resistance. Every dominant force was shaped by pressure. Pressure reveals truth. Pressure exposes weakness. Pressure eliminates illusions. When pressure increases, weak men collapse. Powerful men clarify. Clarity is lethal, because once you see reality without emotional distortion, your decisions become precise. You stop wasting energy on meaningless distractions. You stop seeking comfort in empty validation. You stop explaining yourself to people who cannot comprehend your trajectory, because explanation is a form of submission. Powerful men do not explain. They execute. Execution speaks louder than language. Results silence doubt. Results force respect. Respect earned through results is permanent. Respect begged through words is temporary. The world respects proof. Proof of discipline. Proof of endurance. Proof of self-mastery. Self-mastery is the highest form of power, because when you master yourself, external chaos loses influence over you. Your environment stops controlling your emotional state. Your circumstances stop dictating your identity. You become internally stable, internally certain, internally dangerous. Dangerous, not because you harm others. Dangerous because you cannot be controlled. Control is the ultimate objective of the weak. They want to control your time, your attention, your focus, your ambition. Because if they control those, they control your destiny. But when you build power, you reclaim ownership. Ownership of your mind, ownership of your habits, ownership of your future. And ownership changes everything. Because when you truly own yourself, you stop tolerating mediocrity. Mediocrity becomes physically painful. You feel it in your chest, in your thoughts, in your environment. You cannot sit still while knowing you are capable of more. This internal pressure becomes your fuel. You stop needing external motivation. Motivation is unreliable. Motivation is emotional. Powerful men rely on standards. Standards do not change based on mood. Standards do not negotiate. Standards demand execution regardless of emotional state. When your standards rise, your identity rises. And when your identity rises, your reality reorganizes around you, because reality reflects identity. If you see yourself as weak, you act weak. If you see yourself as powerful, you act with authority. Your subconscious enforces whatever identity you accept. This is why most people remain trapped. They accept an identity of limitation. They say, "This is just who I am." And that sentence becomes their prison. Powerful men reject limitation. They redefine themselves through action. They become someone new through repetition of difficult behaviors. They transform not through wishing, but through doing. Transformation is not comfortable. Transformation is violent. It destroys your old habits, your old beliefs, your old identity. It replaces weakness with discipline, hesitation with aggression, fear with certainty. And this process is lonely, because as you rise, fewer people understand you. Your priorities change, your tolerance changes, your perspective changes. You stop relating to weakness, You stop engaging in meaningless conversations. You stop seeking connection with people who are committed to their own insignificance. Because proximity influences identity. If you surround yourself with weakness, weakness infects you. If you surround yourself with power, power elevates you. Environment is not neutral. Environment is either reinforcing your growth or accelerating your decline. Powerful men engineer their environment intentionally. They eliminate distractions. They eliminate influences that weaken their focus. They construct conditions that force their evolution. Because evolution does not happen accidentally. Evolution happens through pressure applied consistently over time. Consistency is where most men fail. They act once. They act twice. Then they disappear. They return to comfort. They return to weakness. And every return makes it harder to rise again. Because your brain remembers your surrender. It remembers your collapse. It remembers that you betrayed your own standards. And self-betrayal destroys power faster than external failure ever could. Failure is not the enemy. Surrender is the enemy. Failure strengthens you when you continue. Surrender weakens you permanently. Powerful men fail constantly, but they never surrender. They absorb failure. They analyze failure. They use failure. Failure becomes information. Information becomes strategy. Strategy becomes dominance. This is the cycle of power. You do not avoid pain. You convert pain into progress. You do not avoid difficulty. You consume difficulty and turn it into strength. You do not wait for confidence. You build confidence, the repeated conquest of resistance, because conquest changes your nervous system. Every conquered fear reduces the authority fear has over you. Every conquered weakness reduces the control weakness has over you. Until one day you realize something monumental. You are no longer reacting to reality. You are dictating it. And this is the moment everything separates. Because power was never about money. It was never about muscles. It was never about attention. It was about ownership. Ownership of your mind when chaos surrounds you. Ownership of your actions when weakness whispers. Ownership of your identity when the world tries to assign you one. Most men spend their entire lives rented. Rented emotions. Rented opinions. Rented purpose. They wake up and immediately surrender their focus. They open their phone. They absorb commands, invisible instructions telling them how to think, how to feel, how to exist. They never realize they are programmable. And programmable men are forgettable men. But power begins the moment you stop asking. The moment you stop asking for permission. The moment you stop asking for validation. The moment you stop asking for validation. The moment you stop asking if you're ready. And you decide. Decision is the final threshold. Because once you decide, truly decide, there is no negotiation left, no internal debate, no alternative path. There is only execution. You become immovable. Reality stops being something that happens to you. It becomes something that happens to you. It becomes something you shape. Your habits become law. Your standards become non-negotiable. Your discipline becomes automatic. You stop relying on motivation because motivation was always temporary. You stop relying on emotion because emotion was always unstable. You become driven by something deeper. Duty to your potential. Duty to your future. Duty to the version of yourself that exists beyond weakness. Because deep inside you already know. You know what you're capable of. You know where you've been lying to yourself. You know where you've been lying to yourself. You know where you've been escaping instead of attacking. And that truth follows you. It follows you in silence. It follows you in moments of distraction. It follows you when you try to forget, because your potential does not disappear. It waits. It waits for you to stop betraying it. Power is not built in one moment. It is built in thousands of moments where you refuse to be weak. Thousands of moments where you act when others hesitate. Thousands of moments where you endure when others quit. Thousands of moments where you remain disciplined when nobody would blame you for stopping. And those moments stack. They compound. They transform you slowly, quietly, permanently, until one day you look at yourself and realize the hesitation is gone, the doubt is gone, the weakness is gone. You trust yourself, not because someone told you to, but because you proved it again and again and again. And the world reacts differently, not because the world changed, because you did. Your presence becomes heavier, your words become fewer, Your actions become sharper. You stop chasing respect. Respect starts chasing you. Because power is visible. It's visible in how you walk. It's visible in how you think. It's visible in how you think. It's visible in how you think. And once you reach that point, there is no returning. Because you've seen the truth. The world never respected potential. It always respected proof. And now you are proof.